This is Newsable, brought to you by BNZ. Let's find a way.
We did tease us yesterday. Email readout time from you, our loyal correspondents.
Let's go, hit me.
So we got this great one from Isabella recently. Isabella said she was stuck at the airport and bored, so decided to email in. Great call. We encourage you to do this.
Brilliant words to live by.
So she went all the way back to our episode where we talked about how New Zealand makers of feta can't call it feta anymore as a consequence of a free trade agreement with the European Union. And Isabella said, this is quite a goodie, we should call it feta with a WH spelling at the beginning, feta.
Oh, like
Get it?
whangare.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a good shout. Good shout from Isabella.
Neil also got in touch, though, after a different listener said their favourite thing about New Zealand was dairies.
Uh-huh.
And Neil said, what? Because Neil hates dairies. And so instead suggested other things like beaches, scenery, fantastic coffee, the Beths.
Good shout.
And this one sounds like I've made this up, but Neil word for word wrote staff podcasts.
Nice. Attaboy, Neil. I like that. We do read the emails that you send us at newsable@stuff.co.nz. And speaking of Newsable, it's probably time to kick on with the show. So kia ora. Welcome to Newsable. I'm Emil.
And I'm Imogen, and this is what's worth talking about. The FIFA World Cup is turning out to be an absolute humdinger. And we've only just finished the group stage. We look ahead to some heavyweight showdowns in the round of 16.
We also learn about a new illicit substance called monkey dust, which is wreaking some serious havoc in the UK and the US.
Then, for a bit of sunlight, we shoot across the Tasman to hear about the amazing work that's gone into building a bespoke hospital for platypuses. Platypi?
And as always, we're making you smarter, not only with the correct plural for platypus, but also with Fun Fact Friday.
We've got all that coming up in a moment here on Newsable.
First, though, let's check in with Jess for the latest headlines and what's making news today.
Kia ora, Emil. It's been another big night of football with two favourites booking a ticket to the quarterfinals overnight. England survived a red card to one of their star players to beat Nigeria in a penalty shootout. And Australia have continued their resurgent form, beating Denmark 2-0. The last games of the round of 16 take place tonight. Back home, and two teenagers are facing charges for assaulting men who they lured off a dating site in Christchurch. But police believe there are more perpetrators and victims. They say there have been several incidents where men were contacted on a dating site and assaulted when they arrived at their agreed location. Overseas, and Ukraine says it's foiled an assassination plot against President Volodymyr Zelensky. Ukraine said it caught a woman red-handed as she was trying to pass intelligence to Russia and was able to foil a targeted airstrike on Zelensky's location. And in ironic news of the day, Zoom has ordered its employees back into the office. The conference call company, made famous during the pandemic, said it believes a hybrid model is best, with employees showing up in person at least twice a week. Those are your headlines for Tuesday Ratu. Ka kite popo.
Well, we now know the final 16 teams battling it out for the FIFA Women's World Cup title, and there's still a big weekend ahead with plenty of action.
So here to talk us through it is former football fern Anna Green. Welcome back to the pod.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
Did all the teams you expected to go through make it through, Anna?
Absolutely not. This tournament has been so wild. I can't even believe some of the teams that haven't made it through, particularly Brazil was such a bolter. So yeah, no, it's been full of surprises, definitely.
Canada as well. Canada not getting through.
Canada reigning Olympic champions. Like, this is such a wild tournament, and I love to see it. This is what I love the most about sport, is that it's so unpredictable.
And any big hitters in danger of crashing out in this next stage?
Yes, I think the USA completely. So, reigning World Cup champions, I think they've had such a rough run so far. Scraped into the last 16, saved by the post in the 91st minute. So I think them coming up against Sweden is going to be probably the pick of the matches in the next round.
There were some wild results in that last round of group matches, particularly the Japan-Spain match where Japan absolutely decimated Spain, and then Australia smashing Canada as well. What's behind these, do you think? One of the notable things is that the winning team had very little possession, counter-attacking football being a big thing in this tournament.
Yeah, I think the Spain and Japan game was really interesting. I think most people wouldn't have picked that result going into it. I think, was that with their first 3 goals, they'd had 3 shots, 3 goals, and Spain had had a crazy amount of possession. So I think that's a real interesting matchup in terms of the styles of play for those teams. So I think Japan would have been comfortable not having the ball. Like in clubland, particularly there, they have lots of their teams play possession-based football. So they'd be used to coming up against teams that are comfortable on the ball, trying to get teams on the counter, and they're really intelligent footballers. So to be able to be so clinical, I think, just shows the quality of their players. And I think Spain were just a bit shell-shocked, really.
The round of 16's happening over 4 days, but if people can watch only one match, what one should it be?
There are so many good matchups.
One match, Anna.
Okay, well, can I give you 2? Because I can't commit to anything. Sweden, US. That's on Sunday at 9 o'clock. I think that's going to be a ripper of a game. But then also I think Australia and Denmark on Monday. I think we've got to really rally behind the co-hosts, and I'm super intrigued to see how they go, particularly if they've got Sam Kerr back.
When we asked you this before, you said your pick for the winner of this tournament was either the USA or Germany. The USA in particular have had a pretty underwhelming tournament thus far. Are you sticking to those 2 selections for your overall winner?
No, I'm 100% not sticking with USA after their last game. Absolutely not. Okay. This is going to be so fickle because I'm going to go to Japan as the front runners at the minute. I think Japan are the team in form, and the way that they disposed of Spain, I think, makes them a real formidable opponent. So at the minute, they're my front runners, but my picks have been so terrible so far. So maybe we can check back in with this later on.
We might not get you back on the pod, actually, to be perfectly
She's
honest.
not reliable.
She's not reliable. Former football fern and Sky Sport host Anna Green, thank you so much for your time. Don't forget, you can still watch the rest of the tournament live on Sky or stream on Sky Sport now. And Stuff has a dedicated tournament hub online. We'll be live streaming games, and of course there's all the on and off action drama there as well. How good. Remember, if you want to get in touch, you can find us on TikTok or Insta. Search for Newsable NZ. And if you also have a really long story you want to share with us, why don't you send us an email? newsable@stuff.co.nz.
We are going to talk now about a drug that's causing a lot of problems overseas. In fact, in the UK, it appears to have taken over an entire city, Vice reports. Stoke-on-Trent, that is, in the UK. That's where my friend Tony's from, actually. And apparently it is the drug's global capital. It's called monkey dust, which is kind of a cool name.
Yeah, it sounds fun, and then you look into it, and it's not.
Exactly. It sounds fun, but it ain't. It's also known as MPDV. It's already been banned in the US, and UK officials have actually asked drug experts to review it because there have been calls for it to be reclassified from Class B to Class A. So, Imo, tell us about this. What is monkey dust?
So I knew nothing about this until a few hours ago. And neither of us did, right? We both were like, what is monkey dust? So this is all brand new information to my brain. It's a cheap white powder. It also comes as crystals or press pills, and it's made from synthetic cathinones. And it has a similar effect as cocaine and amphetamines. And according to the New Zealand Drug Foundation, it can be missold as MDMA. And because it requires a far lower dose, there's that really high risk of overdosing. According to reports, monkey dust turns users into super strength zombies. Police in the UK have reportedly described trying to arrest people on it as like wrestling the Incredible Hulk. There's reports people have tried to eat glass while they've taken it. What is agreed upon, though, is that monkey dust causes hallucinations and involuntary body movements.
Okay, so how has this become such a big problem in some places around the world?
Well, part of the issue is it's really, really cheap. According to a user who spoke to the BBC, a hit, in inverted commas, can be sold for like £2. So it's $4, way cheaper than buying alcohol or trying to get your hands on anything else, right? And as you can imagine, it's really, really addictive. That person who spoke to the BBC has been using it for 5 years and described the addiction as soul-destroying, and that taking it is like dancing with the devil.
Okay, so this has all been sort of overseas, UK, US kind of stuff, but do we know whether it's here in Aotearoa?
I had a chat with the guys from the New Zealand Drug Foundation about what we know about monkey dust here. They told me it's relatively rare, but it did show up in a drug checking clinic as early as 2018. And then they also pointed out that monkey dust is in that same category as bath salts, which we do know over the past few years here in Aotearoa have been being added or being sold as MDMA. So the recommendation, get stuff tested.
Hey, we're still going to talk about the Platypus Hospital in just a second, but if you are enjoying what you're hearing, chuck us a like and a follow on your favourite podcast platform. It really helps other people to find us too. Everyone's goals are different. Maybe you want to start a business. Maybe you want to get into your first home. Maybe you want to build a giant space laser and vaporise a planet. For that, you might need a Sith overlord. But for pretty much anything else, all you need is BNZ. No matter what future you imagine, let's find a way.
There's fears droughts and extremely dry conditions in New South Wales over the coming summers could have a severe impact on the state's platypus population. So, how do you proactively make sure those cute little creatures are safe and cared for no matter the climate? Well, you build a platypus hospital.
Yeah, it sounds like something Imogen's dreams are made of, but this also has the potential to be a genuine game changer for the Aussie animal. The facility will open later this year at Taronga Western Plains Zoo near Dubbo. That's inland from Sydney for those unfamiliar with Australian geography, such as myself. So joining us now to tell us all about this is the zoo's Wildlife Conservation Officer, Phoebe Ma. Phoebe, welcome to Newsable.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Phoebe, this dedicated hospital is preemptive. So tell us about platypus numbers. Are they dropping? Why is the need for this hospital?
Yeah, so sadly, we've seen about a 40% decline in platypus numbers since records began, and also a range reduction. So in lots of areas where we used to see platypus or records used to be, we're no longer seeing them when we do population surveys. And the really scary thing is when we put climate modelling into it and we make predictions, 50% further loss over the next 6 years unless we do something about it.
Phoebe, this sounds like a bit of an obvious question, but can you tell us what droughts and extremely dry conditions mean for a little platypus?
They pretty much spend most of their time in the water. So they do have a component of their life cycle which involves going into burrows. They use this for laying their eggs because, yes, crazily, this mammal lays eggs. But most of the time they do all their foraging, they do all their mating and courtship behaviours in the water. So without the water, which is what happens to us here, these platypus essentially don't have a home. And what happened in the 2019-2020 sort of bushfire drought was that these poor platypus had nowhere left to live, so they were then trying to walk through the bush to find refuge and were getting burnt by the bushfires. So the poor platypus has just got no hope at the moment.
Phoebe, I'm trying to imagine in my mind's eye what a platypus hospital looks like, and what I've got so far is something kind of like Grey's Anatomy, lots of stethoscopes, beeping machines, a smouldering Patrick Dempsey sweeping through the corridors. Am I pretty close to it?
No. We try and make it as comfortable as possible. How do we make the platypus feel like they're at home in their natural environment? But also, how do we allow, the keepers to be able to keep it clean and hygienic, and also the vets to come and check on them on a regular basis? We provide things like waterfalls and, different water temperatures and climate-controlled areas. Each platypus has their own sort of 10,000 litre stream of water. So we've really gone all out for these platypus because that's what they require.
So do you imagine this will be temporary, or is this the future of platypus care in New South Wales?
There's actually multiple components of this facility. So it is going to be the largest conservation centre for platypus in Australia. And this is because we have a temporary holding refuge. So this can hold up to 65 platypus in drought or bushfire or flood or whatever need be. And then we will return them back to the wild. We also have a research facility which is separate where we will monitor platypus all the time, and we're going to try and crack the code of breeding.
Phoebe Ma from Taronga Western Plains Zoo, thank you so much for your time and that wonderful chat. free fun fact.
Oh, yes. I love it when I get to the brother.
I know. And on Fun Fact Friday as well. A baby platypus is called a puggle. I can't.
Sounds like a slur from the Harry Potter universe. Another free fun fact.
Oh my gosh, we're just doling them out.
Well, I mean, you already knew this one, but we'll just tell the people this because this interview, briefing for this interview, caused a huge rift in the Newsable team. We were arguing over what the plural form of platypus is. We had team platypuses and we had team platypi. But as it turns out...
Oh, here we go.
Well, it is platypuses. That's the commonly used one. But in fact, the etymologically correct plural form of platypus will be platypodes because it's a word of Greek origin. This is Newsable, brought to you by BNZ. Let's find a way.
I almost wish I'd saved my puggle fact for this part.
It's a great fact.
Yeah, it was, eh? And echidnas as well. Baby echidna, also called a puggle.
Did you ever play Neopets?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever do Poogle racing?
Yes, oh my God.
That got me that got me addicted to and then rehabilitated from gambling.
What a question.
Puggle just reminded me of Poogles, you know.
Did not expect to be asked in 2023.
That introduction brings us to our favourite time of the week, Fun Fact Friday. Very exciting. I'm on a bit of a tear here, eh?
I almost just want to get this one out of the way.
You don't want to linger and...
I feel like I've lost my Fun Fact Friday pizzazz. I need to go eat, pray, love somewhere and I've lost the plot. Okay. The first ever email was sent by computer engineer Ray Tomlinson in 1971 to himself.
Oh, lovely.
The first ever email was Ray sending it to Ray. And he didn't quite remember what it was, as I'm led to believe, but he says something like, I think it was QWERTYUIOP, which is just the first row at the top of a keyboard. So just wham bam. And the computer was also next to the other computer. So not only did Ray email Ray, Ray emailed Ray to Ray on a computer next to other computer.
I hope he then sent himself an email back saying, you could have just given me a phone call.
Yeah. Oh, I'm right next to you, mate. Can we take this offline?
Oh, dear. Lovely. There's a good fact. I like that.
1971.
Yeah. Gee, 1971. That's
Ray
like...
to Ray.
It's a long time ago, isn't it? Have you ever been to Sydney, Imogen?
Yes. Don't know why I need to question that. Definitely did last year.
Are you familiar, in that case, with the Anzac Bridge, the one that's not the Sydney Harbour Bridge, the other big bridge?
No, sorry.
Okay. Well, there's this magnificent bridge across Johnston's Bay. It was completed in 1995. I briefly lived in the shadow of it, actually, in Glebe in 2011, but that's another story. This bridge, as you might infer from the name, commemorates the Anzac soldiers. And as such, there are two beautiful big bronze sculptures that adorn the bridge. One of them is of a New Zealand soldier, and one of them is of an Australian soldier. And they are both spectacular pieces of art. They're both huge. They're over 4 metres tall. But the New Zealand soldier is 2 inches taller than the Australian soldier. Do you know why? Because the sculptor was a Kiwi.
No way.
True story.
Two things there that I love. The fact that men get so caught up about height.
Height, I know, right? Yeah. It's like...
Second thing is the pettiness between Aussies and Kiwis.
Pettiness, but also fraternal pettiness, you know. It's lovely. I find it quite endearing, really. Yeah.
That is good.
But vote for your favourite fun fact on Instagram. Our account is NewsableNZ. We're going to chuck a poll up today, and we will reveal the results on Monday also on the Instagram. But that is Newsable for today. I'm Emil Donovan.
And I'm Imogen Wells. Make sure you keep an ear out for tomorrow's episode on Saturday. We're talking to the Gelato King, Giapo, for ice cream fans or gelato fans in Auckland. He has teamed up with none other than Cher.
Do you believe love?
That is a real sentence and it's a real thing. So we're going to talk to him about how on earth this wonderful thing even got started. So, like I said, keep an ear out.
That was Newsable, brought to you by BNZ. Let's find a way.